After Chief Minister Revanth Reddy's announcement of fee regulation in Telangana, all eyes are on the upcoming DFRC, which is going to be implemented across the state. To understand this topic better, TOI spoke to Professor Tirupati Rao, who was the former Vice Chancellor of Osmania University, who spoke at length about the importance of fee regulation, quality education, and the good practices that are being implemented in different states across India.
Now, the most important aspect for India is to focus on education. Particularly school education is very important. I think realizing that only Government of India has come up with this NEP 2020. But however, 3 years, 2018, 19, it was over, but effective implementation is not taking place yet. Because state governments, they have their own view, and implementation is a challenge in that area. And for anyone, education is most important. For parents, educating children, I think most vital to transform them. That parents realize, and parents are very anxious that they should get quality education. So the way out is they always try to find good schools where they can admit their children. And when they try to find good schools, again the challenge is affordability, whether they can afford the whatever the fees that the school is charging, they can afford or not, and the kind of quality education that they're providing, and access and proximity nearby. It should be nearby to their house, and all these issues will come up. Majority of the population now is either middle class or even below middle class. That's major population. The rich are very less in number, percentage-wise population. When you take the percentage of population who are rich, they'll be less. Most of them are middle class or lower middle class. Now, for them, paying fees is a challenge. Actually, when you take the percentage of fee they pay from the income they have, compared to rich people, they pay more percentage of the income they get as fee to meet the education requirements of their children. Whereas rich people, they spend compared to what income they have, they may be spending very less. So, substantial amount goes for education as far as middle class is concerned. However, one thing which we find is that many states they have implemented. Many states the regulations have come. Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Rajasthan, I think so, Gujarat, or Bangalore, or Maharashtra. Many states have all implemented. Very few states are left out, I think. Some regulations they have brought. I think it's time that those states which have not brought the regulations yet, new regulations, I think they should bring the regulations. That's the first thing. Generally, when we talk about regulations and making everybody accountable, everybody agrees. Both the parents as well as managements, all the stakeholders, they say, yes, no, it is required, they will say. Where the issue comes up is what exactly are the specifications, the regulations. When it comes up, there will be some difference of opinion. Managements want more freedom, no restrictions. Parents want that the fee should be controlled in such a way that they can afford to pay the fees. Like that, parents will be feeling. So naturally, these differences will be there. But you have to find a via media where management skill still can run the schools. At the same time, it will not hurt the parent. That is the idea. For that, one thing should be when a parent is admitting their children into school, they know the fee structure. But the rest of the years also, suppose somebody is admitting them second class, third class, or first class, after 10th class, generally what will be the pattern of fee structure, they should have an idea. Then that kind of a transparency should be there. As far as fee regulations are concerned, what we feel is it should be properly rationalized. Now, how do you rationalize? Here again, one major question which comes up is excessive regulation leads to high corruption. So the idea should be how to encourage the schools to regulate themselves. That should be the idea. How do you do that? So you make the regulations in such a way that they are doable, they can be implemented, and they have to be motivated. And then you have the technology now, use the technology, IT, make everything transparent, and then I think it is possible to regulate the fee in such a way that they themselves do it. Now, where they don't do, government can always intervene, and then they can pick up that school, and then close scrutiny can be done. Here, I think one thing we should keep in mind is, all educational sectors are, as per the Government of India Act, they are under not-for-profit societies. Profiteering is not allowed. Some surplus they can generate, 15% or something surplus they can generate, that is Supreme Court decision also is given for further investment in the school development, infrastructure or whatever it is. But they cannot indulge in profiteering. They cannot take away the money and use for their own purpose and for their own individual development. They can have surplus, but they have to reinvest in the school only, in that institution. That is the rule that is presently. So within that framework, I think they have to work. All the schools have to work. The major criticism is, no, they are making a lot of money. This has become a business. Educational institutions, they are indulging in profiteering. That is a criticism. Many people say that whenever the school reopening or happens, academic year begins, this is what we hear in the newspapers everywhere, that very high increase in the fee, 15%, 20%, 30% they have increased. Nobody is questioning them, and then they are indulging in profiteering. Already fee is very high, still they are increasing. This is what we hear. So some cap, if it is kept, as far as the increase of fee is concerned, that they shall not increase the fee beyond this particular percentage, 8%, 10%, whatever it is, depending on the inflation and depending on other factors. Government can take a call and put a cap on the increase of the fee, how much they can increase. It doesn't mean that they can increase even already they are making a lot of profit and then still they can increase it. It's not like that, the major rider is they should not indulge in profiteering. If their expenditure goes up, they really need more money, they can increase to a certain extent, that's it. Even if they don't need, already they are making profit, still they want to increase, that should not be allowed. If some school is doing that, complaints come, government can check that particular school. The issue comes, for example, Telangana state you take, there are around 11,000 private schools around. Now 11,000 private schools, you want to go and check every school and look into their accounts and all that, it becomes a very cumbersome process. And automatically, I think it may lead to corruption also. So even if they may increase 20% or 25% and get it cleared, and then you cannot even question them. So instead of all that, what we feel is put a cap. Now, you can increase up to this level if you require. Your expenditure has gone up. Only for that. Otherwise, they should not increase. If already they are meeting their requirement, that's fine. They should not increase their fees. But if their expenditure has gone up, they have to justify that the expenditure has gone up, then maybe they can increase their fees, put a cap. Beyond that also they need to increase because expenditure has gone up, they need, then maybe they have to take a special permission from the government or go through the committee or something like that. Government can say that you have to go through a committee, close scrutiny will be done and all that. Some regulations can be brought out. If you have such a procedure, then probably it may lead to self-regulation overall. And only one caution is, suppose some schools, they say already they are making a lot of profit and still how can we allow them? Such schools can be checked. You have the mechanism at random. Income tax also, 3% survey they do, submissions at random. So at random, some schools can always be checked so that they know everybody will have the fear that any school government can check them, and if they find that they are doing something wrong, there may be severe penalties on them. So that I think government can come up with such some idea that is feasible, what we feel. But another aspect is quality of the education is most important apart from fees. Whatever they are paying, whether fees is very high or very low or different level, quality of education that you are offering in the school is very, very important. That I think is much attention is not paid to that, because school, depending on whatever resources they are providing education, but quality is lacking. Quality is very much lacking. That in many schools, in some schools it may be good, but many schools quality is lacking. The spirit with which the new education policy has been introduced, that is not there now, as of now. So how do you really improve the quality is a big challenge, because now they want to shift the children, focus on conceptual understanding more than rote learning, examination oriented coaching, it goes on. So that has to shift. The real learning has to take place where they can think creatively, critical thinking, creative thinking, innovation. A lot of project work they have to give them. They have to give them a lot of activity. They really have to understand the concept. They have to think on their own. So now I think that is the trend. How do you really put them into that? And they have to learn it happily. It should not be a burden. And values, very very important nowadays. They are influenced by social media and all other things. So how do you remove the negative influences and prevent them, insulate them from negative influences? So these are all challenges. So close attention has to be there on the quality of education. For this, what I feel is they can even have some kind of a private public cooperation. You see, philanthropic institutions are there in the private sector, like Tata's or some trusts who are interested in helping the government schools or other schools. I think you can have kind of understanding with them, and they can be involved in implementing this quality education. They'll come forward and think they can be encouraged. CSR funds can be encouraged, even for private schools also. Because the budget schools, what they say is they cannot afford higher fees, they cannot take. And what they get is that won't meet their requirements if they really want to provide quality. So some other method has to be adopted to improve the quality education by giving them some kind of a support. You give them teachers training, you give them, or centralized information, you develop some material inputs, centralized, and give all the schools that information, so that will help the students, because a lot of information, online information, can be given to schools. Like that, various methods can be adopted to help the schools to empower the students in a better way and see that they get inculcate good values, quality education, all-round development takes place. Because that is a key thing for India, because now young India we are saying, but that young population, if they are not education-wise, if they are not good, I don't think that will be advantage, that will be sort of a disadvantage, because they are not employable and that will become a burden for us. That's what I feel. So it's a big subject. A lot of focus has to be there at every level, at central level as well as state level. Every level focus has to be there. If this actually India has to improve fast, and you really want to become developed country by 2047. The most important agent is education. The quality education with good values has to be given. That is a key thing. All governments have to focus on this. As of now, it's not satisfactory. That's what I feel.